Another man hiding millions is Stephen Carroll, he hopes.
Can be a fine thing, yeah.
European Central Bank, Stephen, they're meeting today, aren't they? They've got a lot to talk about.
A lot has happened since the bank's last meeting. Donald Trump's been elected US President. Matteo Renzi is resigning as Italian Prime Minister, and the euro has weakened significantly against the dollar. All of that will be on the table as Mario Draghi decides whether or not to extend the bank's bond buying programme beyond March of next year. The ECB is currently spending 80 billion euros a month on bonds in an effort to boost the Eurozone economy. Investors are banking on an extension of at least 3 months. Earlier we spoke to Naeem Aslam, Chief Market Analyst with Think Markets, about what to expect.
I think the risk of failure is really high today going into this meeting because ECB really have to address all angles of optimism, I would say, if they really wanted to impress the market. Because A, are they going to extend that, as you correctly pointed out? Secondly, is it going to be 80 billion, the purchase that they're going to continue after their March, when the expiry date will happen? And third, what technical changes are they really going to happen? And let's not mention, the most important aspect is the taper word. If we do hear anything of tapering, you will see completely market taking a completely different turn altogether, and we can see a lot more intense sell-off on the market.
Well, let's see how the markets are trading ahead of that decision. We've got European shares trading up. They had been coming off a record finish for Wall Street again last night. This is the picture as European markets start trading today. We've got oil and gas shares trading down, but almost every other sector seeing some gains. The positive lead from Wall Street were also helping things in trading in Asia today as well. We had gains on the Nikkei in Japan. That's despite news that Japanese economic growth was lower than had been expected in the 3 months to the end of September. In Seoul, the Kospi up too. That's as Samsung shares rose to a record high in trading earlier. We've just got some small falls on the Shanghai Composite.
Let's turn to Walmart, shall we? They've announced a major new investment in Mexico.
The US retail giant is to spend $1.3 billion in Mexico, creating 10,000 jobs. It's a bold step for the American company amid President-elect Donald Trump's tough line on trade and keeping jobs in the United States. Brian Quinn has the story.
Pomp and circumstance in Mexico's capital on Wednesday, as Walmart announced plans to expand its logistics and distribution networks in the country. The $1.3 billion investment is expected to create 10,000 jobs in the country, a development hailed by Mexico's political leaders.
You are the largest private employer in our country, so I want to congratulate you and recognize the important contribution you make in creating jobs in Mexico, and especially because, making this announcement today, you ratify your trust in Mexico and Mexico's future.
That kind of trust has been in short supply in recent months. Donald Trump's campaign rhetoric was frequently hostile to Mexico and to U.S. companies who shift jobs there. His victory sent the value of the peso tumbling. Last month, U.S. manufacturer Carrier announced a deal with the incoming Trump administration to halt the shift to Mexico of nearly 1,000 jobs from facilities in Indiana. Walmart's move will likely be seen as a sign that U.S. companies won't be abandoning Mexico despite possible Trump policies. Company officials were quick to point out, however, that the investment is a result of business generated in Mexico and not the result of outsourcing from the U.S. With over 2,300 stores in the country, Walmart is Mexico's largest retailer. It plans to open 1,000 more locations in the coming decade.
Next to a major deal in the oil industry, Russia's state-owned oil company Rosneft is selling an almost 20% stake to Glencore and Qatar's sovereign wealth fund. They'll pay 10.5 billion euros for the stake. The sale is part of efforts by the Russian government to raise funds as it suffers through a 2-year recession. BP already owns an almost 20% stake in Rosneft, while Moscow will retain a controlling stake after this deal.
Now, finally from Stephen, the boss of Twitter has been talking about Donald Trump's use of the site.
There's been a lot of talk about how Donald Trump has used Twitter after he was elected president. So this was a question put to the co-founder and chief executive of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, at a conference about how he felt about Trump governing through 140 characters. His answer was that it's complicated. Dorsey says he's not sure exactly what it means to have a direct line to the president-elect's thoughts via the website, but he said the company's learning as quickly as they can. USA Today reporting that when he was asked if he feels responsible for Trump being elected president, he said that America is responsible for Donald Trump being president. So a very diplomatic answer from Jack Dorsey.
Very diplomatic. Certainly driving up traffic.
Yeah.
Anyway, Donald Trump's tweets. We're staying with Donald Trump. It's a bit of a Donald Trump half hour here on France 24 because